Hi, I'm Walter Mencer, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent of Schools here in Knox County Schools. And I'm here today with Mr. Raliegh Wynn Sr., former coach, teacher, assistant principal, and principal in Knox City and Knox County Schools. Mr. Wynn, welcome. We're glad to have you with us here this morning.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Mr. Wynn, talk to me a little bit about growing up here in Knoxville, what it was like in the schools that you attended.
Or you want me to go back from day one?
That would be good.
That'd be day one. Well, I was born here in Knoxville a few years ago, and I can tell you the date. I'm not ashamed of my age. Born 1924, February 13th. I almost was a Valentine baby.
All right.
And I was born in East Knoxville. And I can tell you where I grew up, and to visualize this and let you know exactly, because a lot of people don't know about Knoxville, but some of you native Knoxville, you know, where Lay's Market is today. I was reared right up the street there on the left, going east was Jackson Avenue, and there was, they called it McCullough now, but it was Jackson Avenue, but till they got down to the railroad track and it turned over to McCullough. And you know, I'm saying that because the blacks lived over here and on down below me. Bridges Montgomery, the guy, the great baseball player at UT, we were all little boys together. He lived right up the street from me, and we all played together. And growing up in Knoxville was we didn't think about you know, this segregated thing. I guess we were too young to realize this, but we were taught to be honorable. That's one thing that he called my daddy Big Ellick, big fella. And he said, you talk too much, you'll tell a lie. You know, I was taught that, you know, so if we didn't talk too much, you know, when you asked your question, we answered, and that, you know, and growing up in Knoxville, we knew what the situation was in Knoxville. Our parents taught us how to respect not only the police, but people, period. And we were taught to respect our elders at all times, you know, and we were church-going people. I grew up in Tabernacle Baptist Church. People don't believe that. Bob Book and all those guys, we all come up in the same area. And we had a real fruitful life. We knew what we were supposed to do. And we knew then, at that time when we were younger, that you need an education if you're going to succeed in life. I don't care if you're black, brown, or blue, or polka dot red, you need an education to mingle in this world. Not only in Knoxville, anywhere. It could be in New York, anywhere else. So my life in Knoxville was to me, I was a youngster, I was having a good time, you know. I didn't have no worries. We could play ball and do everything, and we were taught manners, how to respect people. We didn't care what color you were. My daddy always told me, he said, hey, old enough for your daddy, you'll be talking yes, no, and to them, yes, sir, no, sir. And we didn't pay no attention, and we were just taught that way. But I grew up in Knoxville, and I left here, went to Austin High School, went to high school, elementary school, right back of me. I lived right back of it, so I could come jump over the fence and go to school. Never would be late. And then later we moved to Vine Avenue, and there I went off to college, and we came back, and people scattered out and went everywhere. But we knew exactly what we were supposed to do.
Now you said that you went to high school, elementary school.
Yeah.
Now what junior high school did you attend, or did you attend junior high school?
I went to Green School.
Okay, now was Green School a junior high back in those days?
Yes, sir. You went over there in the 6th grade, you stayed till you was in the 9th, and you went to Austin High School. So those are the schools right there. That was for the east side. Well, see, on the west side, you went to Maynard School, and you went to they didn't have Maynard then, they had Maynard. Then they built Beardsley later on. Then you went to Austin High School.
Now, were you at Austin High School during the time that students had to come in, or students came in from Anderson County to attend high school?
I sure was. And I was there when they came over from Blount County and up in Mascot and those places in Sevierville. See, Mr. Guy named Mr. Cooper used to drive the bus. We used to call it the Yellow Duck. They bring them over from up in up like you're going to Straw Plains. Well, they all came to Austin High School. That was the only black high school in this area beside Hall High School, which was second rated to Austin High School, was a top-notch school. And we turned out some outstanding individuals down through the years.
Now, where was Hall High School?
Hall High School, over in Alcoa.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about the schools that you attended and the teachers that you had, and if any of those teachers had any influence on your life.
Yeah, I started the high school, and Mr. Bradley was the principal, and he was a big fella, and everybody was afraid of him. He wasn't mean, he was just big. And we were like little tots, we scared him. He had a big old heavy voice. Oh, boy, he scared you. You jump out the window, you see him come, you heard Mr. Bradley's voice, and he didn't take no foolishness. And of course, the parents taught you respect. That's one thing over in our community. You respected your elders. I don't care if I used to ask my mama, I wouldn't ask my daddy. I said, well, he ain't but 18. I'm bigger than he is. I was a big old fella, big fat fella. I said, I'm bigger than him. I have to say yes sir to him. He said, he's 18. I said, but he's not grown. He said, but 18, you're grown. Because I want to know why. So you got to get out and make a living for yourself. That's what the people would tell you, you know. But over than that, we had a community school, our high school, elementary school. We left there and we went to Green School. And after we completed Green School, we started in the sixth grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we went to Austin High School in the ninth grade.
Okay.
Everybody and every black in this city went to Austin High School. And then we stayed there till we graduated, and we had a lot of kids going back to college, and those that could afford it, and those that worked, and a lot of them went off to school. And of course, my high school days were glorious to me. I played in the band, tried to play football. I was a rookie, and tried to play sports, you know, and everything, you know. But the emphasis was placed on our educating ourselves, and we had dedicated teachers. And some of my teachers are still living now, but the majority of them are dead. I say one of my teachers is still living right here today, 108 years old. Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly was teaching school at Green School when I was there. And Miss Lady, now she's 108, and she's living. She's the oldest person in Knoxville, I believe. She's old. They were the one that gave us our impetus to be somebody. He said, if you can't be somebody, don't stand up and be a nobody. See, Mr. Bradley, he was the principal, great big old guy. Everybody was scared of him. We had a pal big as he was, you know, and he'd use it.
Oh, yes.
So it wasn't no talking about don't hit my child. If we went to that school, they didn't cut up. But otherwise than that, we got pretty decent education, and a lot of the kids went off to college that could afford it, and we had great football teams at Austin High School. And a lot of our boys went off to college because they were great football players. They went to that Morris Brown. And my first year on the college was at Clark College in Atlanta.
Now, what made you go to Clark?
Well, I got some scholarship help. I didn't have no money, so Mr. S.M. Clark, used to own Clark Mortuary, was my teacher at Green School, and he helped me get some financial aid. We didn't have that then, to go to Clark. And his father was a doctor, he and his brother. He finished there, and his sister finished there, so they sent me to Clark. The first time I rode on a train. I rode the train to Atlanta, and they gave me a chance to go to school. They gave me room and board. I had to buy my own books. I played football, and incidentally, I didn't last but a semester because Uncle Sam got me. So I turned in World War II, and I stayed in World War II. When I came back, I did not go to Clark because I had played ball in the service, and I was all service, and I beat some guys out that were college ball players. One of the guys at Kansas State. I never played center in my life, but we had a football team, European All-Stars, and I was selected to the first team, you know, and this guy was playing behind me, played at Kansas, and he wanted to know why I beat him. I told him I was better than he was, you know. And that's where I started playing, and I made all ETO, European Theater Operation, and I was one of the 5 blacks on the team that was over there in the World War II. And then I got caught up in the, when they had the Bulge, Battle of the Bulge, I was involved in that, and in the infantry. Came out of there, and I went to, came back and decided to go to school. I didn't go back to Clark. I went to Tennessee State, and that's where I started my college career, really, back, and I graduated down there, and I went off to school, went up in Canada to play ball a while, and was going to have a trial with the Washington Redskins. They said they didn't want no blacks, so we didn't get a chance to go to camp. The Atlanta touchdown club was sending us out, and they wouldn't even let us come to camp. They didn't even practice at that time. They wouldn't. It was just a trend of time, you know. And then,
well, did you get an opportunity to try out with any of the professional teams?
Well, I was up in Toronto, Canada, for a while, you know, and then I got my leg got hurt again. Then I said, and I was getting up in age. I wasn't too old, but I just said, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I have to do. And I said, get the education, like my father used to tell us, that they can't take that away from you.
Well, let's go back and talk about your days at Tennessee State University. Tell us about some of those times that you had there and things that you did and what you majored in.
Oh yeah, when I was supposed to go into Clark College when I came back, because I had spent a semester there before I got drafted. But I done got bigger, and I'd made all ETO, European Theater Operations football team, and I had beat a guy I played at the University of Kansas. And he was a first stringer, all conference, and I beat him out of position. And Coach Tom Harris, he was coached the team at Tennessee State, track team. I met him. Bud Holland, he was one of the coaches overseas, and they always going to Tennessee State, so they got me and about 4 or 5 other guys. So that's why I ended up getting my bachelor's degree from Tennessee State, 1950. And after that, that's the time we was going to. There wasn't a lot of blacks in the professional rank then, and we went to Canada, and some of our guys went up in Canada League. And we had trials, and some of them wouldn't even give us a trial, so I said, well, I better go on, and I had earned my degree, so I said I better go on and try to get some work, you know. So I went to work, and I said, well, I'm gonna be a coach. I wanted to be a coach, and I had some pretty good coaches that people like John Merritt. I played against him for 4 years, and we got to be friends. And when I went to, my first job was in Mississippi, and I was named coach at a small college like Knoxville College. And I said, "You the head coach?" I said, "I ain't never been no coach." He said, "Well, you played, didn't you?" I said, "Well, that be playing and coaching is a different thing, you know."
But you wanted to be a coach, right?
I really wanted to be a coach, and they gave me a breakdown at Tougaloo College. And I had a decent ball club. Didn't lose 2 ball games that year. We didn't play but 7.
That's not bad.
And that was a studious kind of an institution at Tougaloo College, private school. And we all mingled. We had good football teams down there. And they were strictly academic.
Well, when you graduated from Tennessee State, what was your degree in?
I got a degree in biological science and physical ed.
So you got 2 degrees. All right. And so what then encouraged you or motivated you to take those degrees and to go into education?
Well, after we had, we went up in the Canadian League because a bunch of our guys played the year before me. They had gone up there and made it, you know, and they got us up there, and we played up there for a while, and then I got my leg hurt. Gil Creasy ended up being with the Chicago team, not the Bears, the other team they had up there. And I went over, and they wouldn't let us see practice when we went to the Washington Redskins. They said they weren't taking no blacks over there, so we didn't. So I ended up, I said, well, I got my education. So when I went off, I went up and played up in the Canadian League for a while. I got hurt, and I got a job down in Cleveland, Ohio, with the electrical company. I worked there, but I wasn't satisfied. I said, I want to coach, so they weren't hiring blacks that much up in Ohio to do those things, you know. So I ended up, and I worked up there a year for the electrical company, and then I got the job in Mississippi. And I was on the right road then to go on what I wanted to do, and I worked my way around and worked it back to Knoxville. And I always had an ambition to work in Knoxville. And my father used to ask me, he said, boy, I thought you was all world. You can't even get a job. You know, my daddy used to tease me because my daddy was a baseball player. And I said, well, Dad, I said, you always taught us you don't beg anybody. He said, if you can't do the job, said you do the best you can. If they don't want you then you must not be that good, you know. But I didn't let that deter me. I said, well, I know that I can be an asset, so I ended up coaching. Then I ended up back in Knoxville, and I got a job at Beardsley coaching.
Now, what did you coach at Beardsley?
I coached, Mr. Center was the principal when I was out there. I coached football.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Beardsley was a junior high school.
It was a junior high school, right? on that side, you know. And Ralph Boston, not Ralph Boston, what's Ralph's name? Boston Pryor, all them guys, we all worked together out there at Beardsley. Mr. Gross, and they were the head coaches. That's where I got my break. And then I helped over at Austin one time, and because I wasn't permanent. And I also worked as a probation officer.
During the time that you were working at Beardsley?
Yeah, that's right. I was working down at the juvenile court. Judge Douglas was my judge. And
well,
so,
how did you manage to be able to do both of those?
Well, see, they would let me off work and said, they seemed to like what I was doing. They said, well, we don't want to lose this guy, because I was getting ready to leave Knoxville and go back. They said, so they had me working part-time at Beardsley and working in the juvenile court, you know, and I was, at that time, was segregated. I was in charge of the black penal people, and I took care of them, you know, and then I finally got the break I needed. And I went to Pikeville and started the program down there, and they had a real good football, baseball, and basketball team.
Now, what kind of program did you start in Pikeville? We
started the athletic program, and
okay.
I taught biology.
And that was at what school?
That was Taft Training School.
Okay.
You heard the guys talking, you go to Pikeville?
Yes.
That was the juvenile for the black kids.
Okay.
So George Douglas one got me that job.
And so you started the athletic program at Taft?
That's Taft, I sure did.
Well, good. What kind of athletic program did you have?
Had a tough one. I had Austin East on the rim one night right here in Knoxville. The referee, I hate to say it, the referee threw the flag, beat me. And everybody wondered why I wasn't coaching at Austin. I said, well, you just got to wait till your time come. But I was kind of envious because they was hiring people I thought they were inferior to me. I thought, you know, naturally you all were going to think you good, you know. If you don't, you ain't much of a person. I said, I can be an asset to that. I didn't want to take nobody's job, but I knew I could be a good line coach. Because, see, I played the line at Tennessee State. I played both ways.
Well, tell me, how did the schools that you played when you were at Taft, how did they feel about playing a team that was made up of juveniles? You
know what? You'll be surprised. They was glad to play us, you know, because I had some young men. I got a young man that played with me at Piper. He's a doctor now. What's his name? I'll see him sometime this fall. I go down to, he's in Memphis now. He finished there and went on to med school, got to be a doctor. Straightened himself up, because he's supposed to have stolen a car and everything. And when you measure up to the school, when we played each other, we played schools like Rockwood had a team, Athens, Sweetwater, all those schools, I had black schools down there, and we played them. And Dayton, and then, of course, you know, you played Howard, you know, that was the big rival. And Booker Washington, those were, and we played Nelson May, where I eventually ended up coaching up there too. And so I just wanted to coach and teach at the most time. And I wasn't no sports fanatic. I always made sure that the kids got their lesson. I used to go to the teachers and tell them, if they ain't get their lesson, let me know. So I take them down in the cloakroom, and I did that at East High School. They wasn't used to that, you know. The guy let them get by with, so he made a D, and I had to see the report cards, and it said, I said, son, you ain't doing nothing in no class. Said, look at the D you got. So we wouldn't let them practice. All they could do was come to practice. All they could do was stay in the weight room, and they had a study hall down there. And these things that we don't emphasize now, if you don't get on the wagon now, you get left.
Yes. Well, tell us a little more about some of the people that you taught during your time in the classroom that that have gone on and done some great things?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. Just buried one of my top ball players the other day. What's his name? Just buried him last week. He played professional baseball. He worked for the insurance company down in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Doyle, not Doyle, had his funeral last Tuesday. He was the one that came out of the project and could kick a football a mile and could throw a baseball through a brick wall. And he ended up getting a degree, and he worked for the insurance company. Tremendous fella. He's the native Knoxville. And a lot of the guys like that, you just, if you get behind the students, of course, a little different era now, but it doesn't bother me that we let children get by with things, because I think we lighten up on them. It's all right for them. I said, no, it's not all right. And all of my boys, I got a little group now that we just close-knit right now. They're all over the country, and we all meet up every once in a while. If you notice here, but last year they had a big day for me.
Yes.
And I didn't even know it. And them guys came from everywhere, and they just pulled the wool over my eyes. And I thought it was a great idea, and it didn't go to my head, because I had those guys at Beardsley. I either had them at Park, I had them at Austin East, and about 80% of them went off to college. And most of them are doing real well. You know, it's just up to the individual.
Well, it seems like you had some great times as a teacher. Talk to us a little bit about when you became an assistant principal and working your way on up to becoming a principal.
Well, now, that was the biggest thing, you know. It shocked me, because I didn't want to be no principal. It really shocked me. So I'm going to go back and run it. The first time they were going to say, going to make me a principal, they sent me to Beardsley.
As the principal?
As assistant principal under Mr. Center.
Okay.
And somehow, I was moving my stuff out there. I never got it all there. That's when, after I had been at Austin East, at East High School. And
now, at East High School, where you were a teacher, right?
Yeah, I was a PE teacher and health teacher.
Okay.
And baseball coach and football line coach. Worked with Bob Polson, one of the best friends I had in this town. And Mr. Bible, the one that got me hired out there, Mr. Buford Bible.
Yes. Because
he was from Jefferson City, and he came up to want to see who this genius was with this terrific defense that we had up there. Nobody score on you in 6-ball game. Don't get past your fifth. They said Mr. Bible is from Jefferson City.
Okay.
And he's the one who got me hired at East High School.
Okay. Now, so you went to Beardsley as assistant principal, and you were telling me that you didn't get all of your stuff there. What happened?
Well, they moved me as principal of Park Jr. And Miss Ruth
before you could even get into Beardsley.
That's right. And Ruth Bean, they elevated her. They made her the principal.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Miss Bean then was principal at Beardsley?
Yeah, she.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Had a tough school out there too.
Yeah, I knew she was a principal, but I didn't know she was a principal at
yeah, she was a principal.
Beardsley.
Yeah, and she left Beardsley, and she went down to West. She head of the guidance department down there.
At West High School?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, keep telling us about some of your experiences as a principal. Tell us about some of the things that happened during your time as principal of Park Jr.
Oh, well, I tell you, it was just the funniest thing, you know. My family had been around here so long. They know the Wynn family. You know, we were never in trouble as far as that. There was a lot of Wynns in here. We all related. We never did disown our people, good or bad. And my father was well known. My mother, and they was good church-going people. And the lady got on me one time because her grandson got to cut him, and I whipped him. And she went and told my mother. My mother lived up on Fifth Avenue, and they called Wynn. Said, your son down there, you don't give a child a break. He said he was cutting up, wasn't he? She said, my son is the principal, not me. And the lady went and told my mother that I went up to my mother's house that day, and she said, what'd you tell that woman? I told her, I said that if she didn't want her son to go to school there, I would be glad to give him a transfer. I said, but he's going to do right in here. And I said, he was wrong. And she got said, well, I'm going to tell Wynn. I said, how you going to tell Wynn? That's what she called my mother, you know. You going to tell my mother nothing on me. You got some parents, you know, and then I had some kids that I taught that their parents were in school with me.
Yes.
And I always try to have a rapport that I treat everybody fair. I didn't treat everybody alike. So that's my theory right now. I don't ever treat everybody alike because I treat different. When you was the band director at Park Jr., we had another, but I didn't treat him the same way I treat you because you're a different personality.
Right.
See, for instance, you and I bragging, I could wash my hands of you and I said, that's yours, you know. When you have a problem, call me. I didn't try to dodge anything, you know, and I supported the teachers. And then you know how I was when I was principal over at Park Jr.
One of the finest principals I've ever had.
Did nobody come in that door unless I let you in the morning. And I spoke to every child as they come to the door. And I know every one of my students by name. Every one of them. I could walk down the hall, hey, Mildred, how's Susie, and everything. And I used to walk all over the place. And I'd be all down on Fifth Avenue. And when you went to Swan Baker, when they go down there, was sneaking those cookies out of the old place, you know.
Yes.
I was hid in one little room. The lady said, kids from Park Jr. are coming here stealing stuff out. I told the man, I said, let me come down here at 10 after 3, and I'm gonna get back in that closet like that. All the kids came down there and they was getting all those day-old cakes and everything. Mm-hmm. And when they got through, and I told the man to go around outside and lock the door. And when they got all the things, they said, well, we don't see nothing we need. I walked out. I said, everybody drop what you got. They had the cookies, cakes, most of them were girls. I got me and said, most of them were girls. And they said, how did Mr. Wynn get in here? I was standing there, I was watching them. They were just filling the pocket up. I made them embarrass every one of them. And he said, where's you gonna put? I said, I'll see y'all in the morning at 8:15. I went back and called every one of their mamas. I said, now this is the situation. I said, I caught them red-handed. I said, I will deal with them. I said, if you got any other choice, you can meet in the morning at 8:15. And I called their names, all that. What you gonna do? I said, they're gonna be punished. I said, they won't be allowed to go into that place down there on that little place that sold cookies, you know,
yes.
day-old bread. Wouldn't allow them in there. And I walk down there and fold my arms, and they walk in the door, and they come. I said, what y'all doing in here? Well, that man's everywhere. I had a lot of fun being a teacher in Knoxville. And wherever I was, I always had fun.
Well, you know, back then, in the education field, you know, teachers were able to do a lot more discipline-wise than they are today. Tell us what you see, how you see education, that education has changed from the time that you were in the classroom to what you see happening today.
Well, let's put it this way. They threw away the principle of discipline. And you don't have to be a brute to be a good discipline. And I had an advantage because I was big, you know, and everybody looked down on me, looked up at me, you know. But size doesn't make it. And I know I had a little teacher, and I tell you, she's around here now. She was tough little old teacher. And Miss Carey, little old lady, lived right down the street from Norfolk College. Boy, she wasn't no taller than this, but she had order. And that's all you got to do. You got to lay the law down when you first start. You cannot play with these kids. And even today, it's much different. It's much different. See, kids talk about you, talk back to you now. You come to school when they want to. The parents will jump all over you when you punish your kids. And then when they get in trouble, and then, well, would you represent my child? How can you represent your child? And your child did something. You don't want him reprimanded. And I think we slacked up on our discipline. See, of course, that's the law, and we have to abide by the law, but I think there's a way that we can do sometimes to tighten up the decorum in our school system. It's not criticizing it, but you can't whip the children. They don't want to whip the child, you know. And back when you was over at Park Junior, you know, when they came to my office, I said, when you come here, that means your teacher are fed up with you. And I said, you got to be attended to. And it's just a trend of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a trend of time. See, kids raising themselves, and see, and they got no respect for, you know, for discipline, nothing, no respect at all. They just don't have it. And I'm not being critical of school because I enjoyed my time working in the system. I enjoyed it because I saw kids. You know, you always going to have some good ones, you're going to have some bad ones. But you always draw the line on it, and everybody had to follow the line. If you were late, you were late. You got to pay for being late. If you cut up, see, 9 times out of 10, teachers very seldom sent you somebody to the office. When they sent you to the office, they were serious. They were in business. And I said, when you come to my office, I just tell them all. I said, when you get down and you get behind this door, I said, you belong to me.
Yes, I remember those days.
And the teacher, what did the teacher do? I said, the teacher ain't done nothing. The teacher can't teach you when your child's in there acting crazy. I said, the teacher tells me to write it up. I said, you want to see it? They said, I don't believe my child do that. I said, well, there's the evidence. I said, the teacher wrote the thing, gave me the thing. He was being disrespectful. And I said, and that teacher old enough for his mom and daddy, I said, we're going to either have an order here or don't have your child. And see, some of them, I only lost 2 kids because parents took them out. They said I was too hard on them. But I said, well, that's a good riddance.
Well, tell us a little bit about, as you see educators today, teachers today, do you see a difference in teachers today and teachers back during your time as a principal?
I really do, because the teachers back in my time, they were stern. Well, you got so many rules and regulations, you can't touch a child, do this. Well, see, it's nothing the teacher can do. You've tied their hands. You know, when the teacher has, back in our days, our nice old time, they had the freedom to discipline that child. I didn't say mistreat them, discipline them. See, you treat everybody fair. If you do wrong, if you don't let it be known you get this one and let that one go, they did the same thing. You can't do that, because these kids are not dummies now.
That's true.
So they didn't do nothing to him. Kids were afraid to come to the office back in your day and back in my day.
I know I never wanted to go.
So, me either. I went to the office one time, and all the time I was in school, 12 years. And I regret to this day that I went to, because I got whips on my bottom part. But Mr. Bradley, he said, your son, your mama and daddy didn't send you over here to be no fool. So we're going to have to drive it from the back end and go up to the top. And he just blessed it. And you think you're going to tell mama, principal whip you? Oh, I just begged my sister, please don't tell mama, because they're going to kill me when I get home, sure enough. You know, I said, don't tell her. You got it at
school, you got it again at home.
I'm telling you, and my sister, like she rest in heaven, she won't teach. We were 2 years apart. And she'd come down every day. She'd bribe me every day. If I got a whipping, I had a little old job when we was in high school, and she'd make me stop by the store and buy her a BB bat. She said, if you don't, I'm gonna tell. It was a little sucker about this long, and it was chocolate as thick. She said, if you don't do, I'm telling mama. That's all I had to do. I said, Lord have mercy. I had to buy my way out. But you don't get that camaraderie among, and then too, your community, the people in the community, kids respected the elder folks in your community. And that's the only difference. I think we're just a little too loose. And my granddaughter tell me that, you just old fashioned. I said, well, girl, see, I was old fashioned, look at my age and look at yours. I said, you got to go there. I said, but where you going there, you won't get there. Why, the teacher can't talk down to you? Will y'all tell me what you mean talking down to you? I said, you know, I'm 6'3", and I used to go in the classrooms and walk in the teacher's classroom. I said, I didn't bother the teacher. I just sat there and see how the teacher's teaching. And I said, when you go in a classroom where there's complete order, There's some teaching going on. You go in there, it's a complete chaos. Ain't nothing going on in there. I said, the kids are taking over. And we had some teachers that they were good teachers, but said they just couldn't discipline the kids. Of course, you can't discipline now. It's just certain things you can do now that, and some of them are good and some of them are not. It's just things you can do. These kids, it all depends upon the parent. It all depends upon the parent. You can't hit my child. Don't want my child whipped? Well, do like Mr. Center used to do. So, well, I run this school, and if your mama don't want you in this school, take her home. And Mr. Center was the smoothest man I ever seen in my life. He did not raise his voice.
No, I've never known him to raise it.
And when he put that paddle on you, you know you had it. He hit you for 3 times. And when I was out at Beardsley, we all supported him 100%. And we had some big bad guys. They go do this to Mr. Center, but they didn't know Mr. Center was all man. I saw him whip a boy one day, and that boy begged him. He said, Mr. Center, I won't be better. Don't kill me. And I said, no, you the one raising all this thing. Me, Boston Pryor, and Jack on the floor, and Ed Hill. We were standing and thought this boy was going to jump on Mr. Center. We was in the door looking. Shoot, this guy supposed to be one of the baddest guys out of line there. When Mr. Center got through with him, he said, yo, get him on me before he kill me. That little boy, when he died, he was a good friend of mine when we got to high school. I said, you remember the day you told Mr. Center you wasn't going to touch you? I said, Mr. Center knocked you out, didn't he? And I talked to his son now. He said, Daddy told me how he came in school one day and he was raising saying, Mr. Center. I said, we didn't have to protect Mr. Center. So Mr. Center was all man. Mr. Center could use that fist. I said,
he was a good man.
We had good teachers. See, of course, we had the parents that were really supporting the students. So now they throw them out there, boom, go to school.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Wynn, give me, give me your impression of how do you feel about the Knoxville City and the Knox County school systems that you worked in? Do you feel that this system has provided a quality education for the kids of Knoxville over the years?
Now that's a really tough question. It's a tough question because you look at it to the trend of times and the theory that's going now. You got parents tell you, "Don't touch my child." Well, see, back was growing up when you went to, that teacher was your guardian life there, and the parents would say, "Well, you take care of business." Mm-hmm. But now these parents come and hit me. I tell my mama and say, well, these mamas go up there, you don't like my child because, and being a native Knoxvilleian, and some of those people that I had when I was principal, I went to school with their mothers and fathers. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, I said, I'm not hard on you, child. I said, I grew up with you. And I said, you don't go for that. I said, but your child was going to cut the mustard just like everybody else. Don't show no favoritism. If you punish this one, but just don't punish them just because people said so. I punish because you were doing it. See, just like, for instance, an example about coming late. They didn't come. At Park Jr., I closed the door. You had to come by me.
Right.
Wasn't but one door you could get in.
Right.
And teachers didn't have to worry about that. You come late you want to. I'll be standing there. Come right on in. Step right over here. But see, now your parents just picking on my child. You can't punish them. And then the law has changed, and I can abide by the law. But if the parents get behind the teacher, because nobody knows their child better than their parent.
Yes.
But some of them, they cover them up.
And so many parents today are afraid of their children.
I'm telling you. And they said the most of them ain't but children themselves. Nothing but children themselves.
Well, Mr. Wynn, I truly appreciate you being here today and talking with me about your experiences as a teacher and principal here in Knox County and Knoxville City School System. And is there any last comments you'd like to make before we wrap up?
Yes, I would like to say this, and this goes for, it's not a color thing, it's not this, the parents, I'm talking about the parents, period. In order for our school system to be an example of the good education, and Knoxville always had a good education. When I went off to college, well, you taking English under Miss Order? Toughest in the world. They didn't worry about me. I just hope Knoxville, we got a good school system, and then I know it costs money to have a good school system, but I think we can do a job if we got laws now, you can't do this to a child, and these parents. Well, in the first place, we got children. See, they ain't above about the children, and of course, that's the way they want to rear their child. But if that parent will undergird their child with the decency that you respect your elder, that doesn't mean you have to get on your knees. If the teacher says you sit down and be quiet, and don't be talking, it's a rule, we know the rule. But that when that child get up and lambast the teacher, no teacher's gonna stand up and take that. And most teachers are afraid, because I've seen some, Mr. Pierce would grab a student, throw him in the cloakroom, and but his mama come up there and she said, throw him in there again. So we'll straighten him out. The parents are gonna have to come in and say, well, we're gonna have a good school, and it's got to be discipline-wise. You've got to have good discipline. It's just like when you're coaching. You can tell a coach got a good team, but he can't beat nobody.
Yes.
Because they're not working together. I'm talking about this players. You and the principal runs this school, like people like I can talk to great principals I know, Landon Porter, Monroe Center, T.R. Davis, and all those guys. They were principals, and Mr. Bible, and the guy that used to be out there at Central. Those were some principals. And Brown, Coach Brown used to be over at South. Those were principals. See, they wasn't afraid of the parents, and of course the children are telling the parents what to do now. You don't have to do that, but you're gonna be punished one way or the other. You're the one that's gonna be on the short end.
Yes.
So I so we that our public school system can get this where people got to realize it takes finance to run a school.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Wynn. We appreciate you being here.
I enjoyed coming.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you.